This is AI Marketing Experts, where bold marketers and next-gen AI collide. Each week, join us as we decode trends, test tools, and share real wins from the AI-powered front lines. No fluff, no hype, just straight talk and smarter marketing. Tap subscribe, and let's geek out on AI.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Brad Kilgore here from America's Best Shops with yet another episode of the AI Marketing Experts. We are super stoked to be here today. I believe this is like our 21st episode. Wow. And we meet weekly to share tips, tricks, latest things happening in the AI world for marketing of businesses, small, medium, and large. So be sure to follow us if you're on YouTube or on the podcast channels. Be sure to share, like, tell your friends and family, tell your grandma about us, whatever it is. Tell them about what we offer because we're here to help and bring value. So with that, we're going to open up our discussion for the week. This is a little bit of a conglomeration or overlap of what's happening, and we've talked about some of these things in the past. But as agency owners, and helping on the front lines, helping business owners navigate what's happening, what's changing with AI and everything. There's a lot of cool things that we want to share with you today. And as we know, it's going to continue to change. So with that, we're just going to open up with what's happening with Google search using the AI LLMs, paid ads, what's happening there, and just what things are shaking up, because it's shaking up right now. So with that, we're going to jump right into our jam session. John has something on his mind, I can tell. He's ready to just spout out what is happening.
I was waiting for somebody else because, all good. So, yeah, it's so insane. Like we talked about last episode, one episode recently, how search is way up, but clicks are way down. So, and we talked about pay-per-click recently and how Google's changing the environment. Well, again, that was a couple of weeks ago. And in the world of AI, wow, that was like an eon ago. You know, I've ended up with a walker since and all of that kind of stuff because we're talking about clients we know that and people that we've talked to and prospects where their pay-per-click is tanked because in search results, it's just changing and evolving so fast, and the consumers are getting used to it so fast, which is probably the shocking part to me, that consumers are getting so used to conversations with their AI tool of choice. My sister, who's not techie at all, talks to her chat GPT Fabio about everything in life, but that's now also in, how to design her garden, how to do where should I go to find this? Well, we know that you're living here, so you should probably go to this store and things like that. It's becoming part of people's culture to just have this voice with them and that kind of thing and tools. So we geek out on building really cool, like Sora 2s come out and we can build really great graphics or videos and stuff like that. We geek out on that, but our clients kind of running their own business don't really pull that much in, but have to start learning what their customers are doing and how does that change their entire marketing game. And I really think this is moving so fast that business owners have got to get a bit of ground, under their feet. The sand is shifting, and really understand what the overall goal still is, because people are moving where they're finding their information. But at the end of the day, the psychology of building a great company and being the standout, the best known in your marketplace, doesn't change. It's just you're aiming where are the people gone and how do I follow them there? So with paid ads, SEO, Google Maps, offline, all of that kind of stuff, email marketing we talked about. So if that opens it up even more, like it's like, holy crap, like you've got to really, really investigate your marketing all over again.
100%. And, we were talking about it before we jumped on here, but I recently had a client that pulled out a significant amount of spend out of Google, right? They traditionally spend around $50,000 a month in Google Ads. They pulled the plug on it because it's just not working anymore. We can't get the impressions that we used to get, right? And without impressions, there's not clicks. Without clicks, there's not conversions. So they're just not seeing the return on it anymore, like even a year ago, right? Even at the beginning of this year, Google pay-per-click ads were just still killing it. What we are seeing quite a bit right now is they just aren't, right? Google will have to do something about this very quickly because this is their money-making machine.
It's their revenue driver. Yeah, it is the big one.
Yeah, it's the big one. Pay-per-click ads, and so they over the past couple of years have been switching to local service ads, right, for most service industries. And those are still there right now. But this whole AI search, they are being forced to adapt, right, because of Chat GPT, honestly. Okay. With everything. And so the problem then becomes on a business level for Google to stay alive, right, and not become the blockbuster of the search engine industry, right? How do they adapt? Because they have to. And how do you not hemorrhage your money making line, which is pay-per-click ads for them? So I think they're going to figure it out pretty quickly. They're going to have to, or else, people are going to start getting fired over it quite a bit. If they go from, I don't even know what they make, $1 billion a day or something like that, in Google ads to what, 100 million a day. I mean, that's a huge difference there. So yeah. I'm just throwing numbers out there. I have no earthly idea exactly what they make on that side of things.
Well, I think too, another thing that's coming up from our, business owners, especially if it's their marketing departments, they don't know what to report any longer. And so, yes, even though they're not coming up, and I know we've talked about it, that is also another thing that's an unknown at this point, but they're saying, wait a minute here, I'm going to budget meetings here as we, look at the end of the year, and I need to ask for, that 50 grand, or I need to ask for X, Y, and Z. And they're saying, well, show me the proof, show me how you used it. Did you earmark it for something special? And so now they're preempting and saying, wait a minute, the numbers I used to show you don't look the same as they once were. So give me time. As small business owners, as all of us, we're saying we are staying ahead, or doing what we can to stay ahead of this wave so that at least we can be on the front edge. But right now, there's no numbers that they can actually go to their boards, go to their presidents of the company, go to the directors and say, this is the reason why I need that budget for 2026 or beyond. So that's going to be also a deep discussion. And keeping up the faith that the content that everybody's building and putting out there is going to carry their sites, their marketing, their brand, their messaging forward.
Yeah, and I think talking about content is going to be a big thing, because it all loops back to there is never one pole in the water. So like monopole marketing should never have been a thing anyway. You get lucky sometimes and it might last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6 months, whatever. But always should be omnipresence marketing. Everything should have its place. So do we care about how many views something got? Do we care about how many impressions? Impressions mean it showed up on a page somewhere, even if the person scrolled past it. Nowadays, it is conversions, period. Like you've got to be looking at the, GBP interactions. You've got to be looking at the calls, the bookings, like that kind of thing. So you got to be capturing at a different level anyways. Doesn't mean you have to stop. Like again, my pushback, Chris, to the person 50K to zero is, well, if there's still a valid reason to put 5K behind it, you've got 45K to go somewhere else. Multiple poles in the water, as long as your marketing team is reporting ROI per channel and helping you there, because the world's changing. So we're going to move budget around, but we're going to might have to splatter it a little bit more. Back in the day, I come old school enough, yellow pages. Everything was like you spent most of your budget on new client acquisition on the yellow pages. And then the 2008-9 recession happened. During that, these iPhones appeared and we came out of the recession. Everybody started firing up their yellow page budgets again. And the customers weren't there anymore. They had moved on, right? So, and it took a while. People were still had, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a month of yellow page budgets. 2 years and 3 years after, everybody was using it to prop up the couch, at grandma's house again. We bring grandma back into this, but you know what I mean? And that kind of thing. So it's moving faster than that, but we've got to realize that if we're talking content, it's got to be real. It's got to be good content. It's got to be happy customer stories. It's got to be out on the right platforms that AI is digesting for the zero-click search and stuff like that. Yeah, you've got to be working with somebody who understands marketing really, really well, because they're spending a lot of time, like we are, going, holy crap, what happened this week? Not this month, this quarter. Like this week, what does it look like we're going to be adjusting going forward? Oh my gosh, that just changed. Our plan adjusts even more. And.
John, you mentioned conversion, and I think that's the huge thing that people need. We hope that our listeners and our viewers are paying attention to, is because even though we may not be able to have a specific report in front of everything for every number, but conversions, now people aren't going to websites and clicking through multiple, or going to Google, clicking through multiple sites. They are getting their information into your conversion 8, 9, 10 times better than it once was, because they have that information. So again, it goes back to great content, new content. And we got to remember, the content we may be writing for humans, but robots will read it. So that's one thing that I think we'll hit a little bit today, is structure, as to why structure of your content matters, why short sentences. You really have to know your H tags, and you got to think about a schema with it. There's more to just putting up content. It's not just create, copy, paste, leave it alone. You want to make sure that you're going to have the bullet points, something that really is engaging, easy for the robots to read, easy for the humans to understand.
FAQs and everything else. And I think that you guys touched on some really important things. I was just talking to a new prospective client yesterday, and he was saying that his ads were not converting in just the last 30 days. And like you say, things are happening so fast on a weekly basis now, monthly basis. So when I started showing him how Google search, for example, had changed just in the last few weeks, I literally pulled it up and said, okay, we can still see LSA or Google guaranteed ads at the top, which, obviously Google makes money from those. Those are still there at the top. Then there's maps. But ads wise, we didn't see any ads that used to be at the top and the bottom of those pages that he was paying for. The ads were just not there. Now the organic stuff was there. The AI overview, when we looked at that, because now there's a new tab. When you're looking at Google search, you go all the way to the top left, and there's one that says AI. You click on that one, and he's like, whoa, I'm not in there at all. I'm like, well, it's because you're not producing any valid content. And so he's like, wow, all we've been focusing on was ads, spending money on ads. And we had totally neglected the SEO side of things, the quality content side of things, putting out valid information, building his brand. And he's like, I see what you're talking about. It's shifting, but at the end of the day, it's a really good idea to be producing good quality content, doing some of the things that Laura just mentioned, as far as having an expert behind the scenes putting this together and doing the SEO pieces, whether that's schema or backlinks or whatever that goes along with it, that most business owners are not even going to be concerned about or know about or care about, as long as it sticks and it works and it shows up. So yeah, branding and content and doing it correctly, you're not going to want to shy away from that. And then we'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen with ads, because we know it's going to shift. We know it's already changing. We know the other chat GPTs and everybody else out there are already saying they're going to start putting ads in their stuff. So I don't think ads are going to go away, but it's definitely a tipping point right now.
With my clients, med spas love ads. Like, some of them, that's all they want to do. We don't love to do that. So we don't really have any clients that we do that with, where it's just ads. But most of them, like, they put a lot of, just a lot of energy and focus on ads. And it's a little bit scary right now, because the clients that we have that have also really gone in on SEO and things like, and brand, they are showing up in other ways that, those are mostly clients that we've had for a while and we've been doing it. But now when we're bringing on new clients, if they haven't been producing those, it's like as marketers, we know that sometimes the ads, they're quick wins. They're the now, while SEO is, future. And so when we're bringing in new clients, if we're working on the future and they're not seeing the now, there's just some real hardship there, I think.
That disconnect.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. It's a tricky situation.
It is.
Well,
and I think Jen hit the nail on the head earlier with omnipresence.
Yeah.
Something we've all been exposed to for quite a while now, but it's you don't want to, John uses the fishing pole analogy, but you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, man. You want to be diverse and you want to be all over the place. Even if you're thinking, well, nobody sees my social stuff. Okay, well, maybe you think they don't, but it's still part of the branding package.
Yep.
Yeah, SEO social and but SEO social and citations, kind of the sound, but SEO social and citations are huge. Like making sure that like citations are more important now than they've been in a very long time because of AI, not necessarily just the GBP rankings, but then also like again we say your social doesn't, like social media posts don't show up to your followers. Like an edge rank is a thing that's like long since been sort of if you run a business page, most people don't see your stuff even if you got 5,000 followers, 3,000 followers, 500 followers. You do have to push it out, but you can also be a real business owner and join the real communities and groups on Facebook and LinkedIn and stuff like that, and share your stuff in there. Like, here's another happy customer. Here's another tip. Here's another blog post, and stuff like that, and create a little bit of that circle. But then we all have a friend. We all know a very young, nice lad who built a lovely agency while going through university, because why not? Braden, who realized that in his niche, that actually the internet's fine and the internet works well, but handwritten postcards, handwritten letters are the marketing flavor of, overlaid with a geographic map and then the target market, because he's working in tree industries and things like that. So overlaying like vegetation growth and demographic marketing of a local marketplace in a zip code, and then handwritten letters and postcards to those. What was old was new again. So marketers you can't just rely on paid ads to build your business. Are you marketing your database? Are you email marketing every week, every 2 weeks, every month? Like, what is it? Is it part of an entire process where you are becoming the best known to the referral partners on the internet, off the internet, the brand that everybody thinks top of mind, so that when we do ask, hey, who could I get to clean my carpets, blah, blah, and there's 3 or 4 names. Oh, I've heard of those guys. I've seen them around. Call those guys. Let's book that in, right? Because your brand stands out. So you got to be there when they're looking, but you also got to have, Mrs. Jones, the neighbor next door, yelling over, call ABC carpet cleaning. They're my guys, kind of idea as well. Like all of it still has to work, right? And then in the right neighborhoods, a postcard, a handwritten letter. I want to be your service provider. Like marketing has become, anytime these things happen, anytime there's a recession, anytime there's anything, you lean into marketing. You market more, not less. It's not a necessary evil. It is the core function of your business.
100%.
Yeah. Yes.
And the thing to consider too, and I was thinking about this morning, is that, I've got 3 devices. I've got a laptop, right? I've got an iPad, and I've got a phone. I bounce back and forth in between all 3 of those depending on the situation. I was sitting yesterday in my daughter's PT. She's been getting physical therapy, and so I have to sit there for an hour. I sat there and talked with ChatGPT and Manus and Claude, right? Going back and forth, 3 different things, on business type things of how I could, solve problems, not only for me, but for my clients as well, right? This whole, Google issue right now. And the thing that struck me this morning was that I bounce in between all of those. So how many of our own, not only our clients, but are their customers, right? How many of them, the homeowners, whatever, are doing the same thing? And so we have to really consider not only omnipresence, right, but also how do you bounce in between each of the different devices and in between the different LLMs, right? The different chats out there. Okay. And optimize for those. And that's just really been going deep in my head on exactly how to do that and how do I systemize that for me and my clients.
Yeah. And I think that to that point, and that's one reason why we bounce between, is because we see different strengths in each of them. So when we're starting with some research, just we opt for Perplexity or Google Gemini. And so we'll start with those because, again, people asking and searching, we've got the Gemini background, and then Perplexity has just done very well for us. And then we move over to ChatGPT, and then we'll use Claude to polish. So yeah, to that point, it does matter. So we do need to keep all those in mind. And then we also have to think, I guess, there's not a way to catch everybody. Again, start thinking, who is your ideal person you want to attract? And that seems to simplify, or doesn't seem so overwhelming. If you say, I really don't want to get calls for commercial roofing, or, something that your company doesn't do, then consider only focusing on residential. For agriculture, if you really don't do anything with cotton, then don't worry about trying to attract somebody that be a cotton farmer. You want to have out front and be very, very tuned in to what they may be looking for. So that's the reason why, even again, with the content or anything that you're putting out there on any channels, you want to make sure you're answering the question first. You're really being direct. It's like the newspaper days when they say, don't bury the headline. You don't want to do that as well with your content, because you don't want to have it down lower on the page, or AI may not serve it up. The other thing too is consider doing the summary with the too long, don't read, or didn't read, and give a summary at the top so that AI can bring that in. But really focus on who is your ideal customer, and that won't, then everything won't seem so overwhelming.
So with what Laura just said, Jen, how does that bring us all back to the fact that your brand is now way more important than it's ever been before?
Yes.
I feel like I should have that tattooed on my forehead, that brand. It's brand. It all comes back to brand. And there's, I think I said this last week too. I wish there was just a way to explain to the businesses who think that brand is this
just your logo.
Like this thing out there, in the ethers or whatever, and they don't understand that it's how they actually do everything, how they interact, how they show up, how they're perceived. It's anyways, it all comes back.
Brand isn't just Kylie Jenner and her $1 billion TikTok or whatever it is, right? So
no. Although good for her.
Good for her.
I mean, I guess over the years, a lot of people will just think, well, I have my logo and that's my brand. And again, to your point, it's your messaging is when your team is knocking on their door or interacting with customers, do they know what your value proposition is? And are they putting that same messaging out there? Are they know what you stand for? And so therefore, again, it's just amplifying your message as a company. That's your brand.
And have you figured out your ideal customer avatar so that message resonates with them? Attracts. So I learned this from guys like Dan Kennedy, Joe Polish, Gary Halbert, stuff like that way back in the day as just a carpet cleaner in a truck. And I'm learning marketing that got me out of the truck in a year and a half, and $1 million carpet cleaning business was learning how to market better. I'm the marketer of cleaning services. And part of that was, who do you want as a customer? And I said, as a kid, 20-something-year-old, everybody. And the answer was, oh, hell no. You slapped across the face. Who do you want as your ideal customer? If you could create that avatar, and maybe there's 2 or 3, maybe it's your ideal residential, your ideal, if you're going to do commercial, is that 3 o'clock in the morning at a greasy restaurant, or is that 5 o'clock at night at a upscale health spa or chiropractor or something where, and things like that, where they're also your ideal residential customer and they own a business that fits into the flow of your day and things like that. So once the light bulb went off and holy crap, I need a message of why we're the best for them. Mm-hmm. So now your brand messaging, your colors, your what words are on your website, what content you're writing, what emails you're sending out, what postcards or personal handwritten letters that you're showing up in the doorsteps, what referral reward programs you have. Your entire marketing becomes brand focused, and AI is picking up brand. So it's not for naught. It's like it insulates you and protects you against everything else.
Yeah. Here's a thing about brand too. This is an example of what it does. I know I use Perplexity a lot. I know some of you guys do too. So I go into Perplexity to basically do some research, and almost all of the responses gave my clients as the source links. Like, so Perplexity was answering my question from my own clients. And those are the clients that we're working on their brand. We're not looking at them as just this, one-dimensional kind of or two-dimensional entity, but the whole business, the whole brand. And Perplexity was just one example of how it really matters.
What are you noticing in the roofing industry, Chris, as far as, because again, like we're blue collar, right?
Yep.
Very much so. And
yeah. So we've been really looking in and digging into, how to rank on ChatGPT. And here's why. I actually pulled this open while we were talking, and I'm going to share my screen real quick here. And this is the sole reason I'm a huge believer in, the 80-20 rule, Pareto's law, right? And I've followed this, by the way, almost my entire career as doing search engine optimization for clients, because this over here, Google, right? And this is stats. If you're listening to this on the actual podcast, I'm looking at statcounter.com, and it's showing the differences here, the search engine market share, in the United States. I narrowed it down to the US. Okay. Google's has been steadily going down, which is interesting. And Bing has been steadily going up. Yahoo is still kicking, by the way, which just blows my mind.
DuckDuckGo is still around.
I mean, geez, but Google is still the 80% or more, right?
Yeah.
Of the market. Well, guess what else is? ChatGPT is, right? ChatGPT owns 81.13% as of September of 2025. Okay.
Of the chat market.
Of the chat market worldwide share. This is worldwide. I didn't narrow it down to US. I guess I could. It might go up. Oh, it actually went down to 78%. Okay.
So
Copilot has gone up, right? Yeah. Seems like Copilot is getting a little bit more. Microsoft's been pushing a lot more into it, right? And leaning more into it. And I think they just announced that it's going to come absolutely 100% with every single one of their products from now on, right? You have no choice. It's going to be in there. Okay.
Well, look at Gemini.
So
that's shocking, eh?
Right.
Google's product is
Google's product.
Distant fourth.
Well, that's because, and we talked about this, several months ago. They lagged in innovation for a long, long time, right? And they are steadily catching up, though. To me, Gemini, I've been using it more and more because it actually is working much better nowadays than ChatGPT in certain tasks. Okay, but my point here is that using Pareto's law, right? Should we not focus on the 80% or more? Right. And so we, as an agency, are starting to look at, okay, how do we rank inside of ChatGPT? How are our clients ranking inside of ChatGPT? And what do we need to do in order to future-proof them? Okay. Now, granted, this isn't search. Okay. This isn't the search market. We go back to the search market. ChatGPT isn't even on here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one United? Yeah, that one's United States. So, okay.
Yeah. This one's the US. Right. And I mean, I can go to worldwide here, but I mean, it's the point here is that ChatGPT isn't here on search, even though people are using it for search. Okay. Mm-hmm. How do we know? How do we start putting this in here? Because they really should be in here at this point, in my opinion. Right. Same thing with Perplexity. Same thing with Copilot. All of these are also search engines, because they're solving people's problems when they're, hey, I've got a roof leak. Who's the best in my market for who do I need to call? Right. That's just the basic question that goes through everybody's mind when that happens. A storm comes through, hail, whatever. They've got to figure that out and solve that problem. Well, ChatGPT can help that. If you're looking at all of the chats, the LLMs, right? People always ask me, what is an LLM? It's a language learning model, right? It's basically what ChatGPT is. So start looking at that as a business owner, right? If you're a business owner listening to this, start really thinking about how you can rank. And what we're finding and what we've been talking about here is a lot of it is about content, a lot of it, because it consumes exactly what Google consumes, which is text,
but not cheap, lightweight, AI written dribble content either. Like we talked about that recently. It's like, if you've built out your brand voice, if you've built out your all those tools, like what you talk about, what you sound like with your community, past stories, like happy customer stories, technician stories, family stories, stuff like that. And then you want to use AI as an enhancement. Then you've got content going out that maybe writes better for, but you still want a human to read it. You still want to iterate. You may want to even layer it where section 1 is built, section 2 is built, and then it gets pulled together. So it's not just a crap content. It actually, and it tells a story. Yeah, I remember when I was 9 years old and my old dog Blue died and blah blah blah. It's very similar, right? Because AI knows that story and throws it into your content. Now that does feel like the business owner wrote that, and the business owner should read it and edit it, make sure it's accurate. But now the consumer might actually have a chance of reading that. You could put that out on social media, and you show up on a job site to do a quote or whatever, and oh my God, I had a dog named Blue as well. Next thing you know, right? And that's like, now you're creating real human connections again and using AI to enhance and speed up, but not automate to the point of the old days of 10,000 backlinks from Russia used to rank a website until it didn't one day, because that became spam and everybody got wiped out. Same thing happens with weak content.
So Brad, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking you guys are really spitting out some really good ideas here and some really good gold nuggets, because everything that we talked about today is valid. And I think it would be very interesting to see those stats that Chris just showed 3 months from now, 6 months from now, because it's going to be different.
Yeah.
And literally, as and I've touched on this before, as the general public continues to embrace the fact that AI isn't going to go away, that it's embedded into their devices now, whether it's their TV or their tablet or their phone or their car, or it's everywhere. And so building your brand and your omnipresence and everything else is going to be a game changer. We offer some services that now reflect some growth in the online directory world. So in the past, people have used or had their agencies do it for them, or whatever the case may be. Google Maps or GBP or whatever it's called these days is the most well-known online directory where people leave reviews. It helps with overall ranking and everything else. But there's always been a lot of other local directories that helped. If you had your name, address, phone on all those different things uniformly, that was always a strategy and a tactic that was used. Well, I know John and I have ramped up some things where some of the systems that we use now, we also get them to have that information on all the different things that show up in Kia, Cadillac, Fiat, Audi, Samsung, all these other new places, because people are talking to their cars. They're asking their car questions as they're going somewhere. Now, some of the other directories and things that we're getting put together are now putting together a way where they can show up in ChatGPT search or Perplexity or Gemini. So these are all things that is just another piece of the omnipresence puzzle. Online directories have shifted to now include things that are AI driven, voice driven, and all these other things. And it all just ties into, okay, I don't want to just focus on paid ads. I need to make sure I'm putting out good quality content, not just putting out garbage. I'm also focusing on my brand, which isn't just my logo. There's things that you can do or have your agencies do where you build out your brand, you let the AI model know all these details about your brand so that every time it spits something out, it's got those things built in. What is your call to action? What is your company motto, or whatever it is, your mission statement, all these things. It can all be built in there now, and it's just going to continue to grow. But at the end of the day, all the things that we're talking about, you want to be across the board. You want to have all these things in place the best you can, because you just never know what may shift or what may go weak, whether it's ads or whether it's social media or whatever it is. It's going to shift, it's going to change, and some things are not going to be as good as they used to be. Like John was sharing, things that worked last week, last month, last year may not work next year, so be diverse.
I talked to a prospect the other day, and big company, and he was like, well, I don't really see AI being any different. It just goes out and searches for you. So it's just pretty much a dumb machine, right? And I'm like, oh, honey, kind of idea. But my brain said that. I didn't say that out loud. I said, so let's do a little quick test right now. I was showing him how AI was pulling from a forum that he posted to, because he set up his company, like just so that he had his name so that he could help the industry. In 2014, some answers he put on it. Chris and I were talking. I found that he was showing like that there was Reddit, not his, but others, things on Reddit coming up. AI is not just doing a dumb human search, a keywords, a click search. AI is taking a field of information and massaging it in a totally different way. And we as marketer and agency owners have to keep an eye on, okay, where's AI going now? And it's constantly changing. We talked about a little bit about that last week, but the user, if they've got their memory on, they got ChatGPT, okay, 80% of the market, cool, start there. There's a place for Bing and SEO and paid ads, but most of it should be Google. The next should be Bing because it's 90%, 10 times less, but it's still next in line. But do your ChatGPTs and stuff like that. But yeah, keep an eye out on where it's pulling now, whether you have memory on, whether it's just blank, or if you're using a tool, the tool uses an API connection, which is around the back end, goes through AI into it. And that's a whole different search result yet again. It's not one thing. It's like everybody used to think, oh, I Google my business name and I come up number one in maps and number one in organic. And it's like, okay, from inside your office, for one, you should be number one.
Right.
Go 20 miles down the road and grab somebody's device off the street beside you. Say, hey, buddy, can I borrow your phone for a second? And Google the same term and tell me where you would show up. Totally different. Always has been. And most business owners never quite caught that wave. So now how are they going to catch the fact that it is unique to everybody? So as Neil Patel tells us, you need to have a lot more content to get a lot less traffic. And that's a good thing.
Well, and to your point, you just said term. So it's different. Some business owners say, well, I Googled my business name. Okay. Well, how many people are actually looking directly for your business name? But to your point, when you said go down the street, what term are they using? And again, this comes back again to the branding and your persona and the messaging that you want to bring in that ideal customer. They need to bring in, or your business needs to be offered up as a solution to their terms or their long tail searches.
Yeah.
So it's just not
their questions and their intent, not their words. Is keywords are gone. The days of keywords are gone. It's questions and intent. So you're not stacking and stuffing keywords. Still a little bit right now. There's still a transition going on, but you are answering the questions and the intent. Marcus Sheridan, they ask you answer 101. So.
And to Jen's point with wanting to make sure your brand's there, that's the reason why in those solutions, your brand, you want to be mentioned, because it's glorious when they do go and just say, I need, a specific phone number for this business, because then they know your branding, they know your business name, they know how to get a hold of you. But until then, we need to make sure our terms and answers are out there.
Should that be the title of our episode? Your brand is glorious.
I like that.
Yes.
That sounds like a
You're
great
glorious, Brad.
That's right. Well, I think we covered a lot today, guys. Does anybody have any closing ideas before we wrap for the week?
Always be marketing. Think of marketing as you are the chief marketing officer. Have a marketing mindset. Wrap your identity around marketing first, everything else second, and let that flow for you.
And maybe a conversation for another time, but on that note, marketing really, I think that businesses these days, they really have to grasp that they have to be content creators in a way.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it. They don't have to be it can be the whole team, but content creation is, it's a thing now. It's part of running a business.
Gary Vee told us all that 5 years ago. We just didn't listen.
Longer than 5 years, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
When he first, like, I want to say it's like 2012 when I read Crush It. Something like that. Yeah.
Been a while. That's right. Well, with that, guys, we're going to close out another fabulous, glorious episode of AI Marketing Experts. Like we said in the beginning, be sure to share, like, subscribe, tell your friends about us, and check us out each week because we do our best to bring good stuff to you, and hopefully it's helpful. So with that, we'll wrap up for another episode.